Live from the Student Union on campus, this is Gold Mine Live. Your weekly all-access pass inside Charlotte Athletics is brought to you by Ortho Carolina, proud to present the 2017 Charlotte 49ers football season. Bojangles, it's bow time. Your Carolina Ford dealers. Go to yourfordchoice.com and enter the Adventure Ready giveaway to win a 2017 Escape or Fusion from your Carolina Ford dealers. Harris Teeter, where 49ers fans shop for groceries. University Eye Associates. And by Wells Fargo. Charlotte 49er fans, show your pride with a customized Wells Fargo debit card. Stop by your nearest Wells Fargo or visit Wells Fargo Card Design Studio online to learn more. Now, here's your host, the voice of the 49ers, Matt Swerad.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Gold Mine Live as we talk Niner basketball for the next 60 minutes with head coach Houston Fancher and a couple of special guests also this week. Assistant coach Tanner Smith's going to be joining us, and Ryan Murphy, who had a career night this past Saturday, scoring 27 points for the Niners against Old Dominion. He'll be a special guest coming up a little later as well. And as always, joined by former Niner great Jobey Thomas as well. Good to see you guys on this Monday. Hope you had a good day off yesterday.
How about you, Joey? I had a great day off.
Yeah, great day.
I got to spend some time at Build-A-Bear and Cracker Barrel yesterday, so that was special. My daughter's birthday was this past week, so we did our Build-A-Bear tradition Sunday at Concord Mills, so that's always a special time for us, and it happens so fast. Keep growing so fast.
It sure does. I remember back in October, I was in the same place, and we were at the American Girl store, though, for about 4.5 hours. So
you got three, though. I just got one.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah, I was about to say, the price point is a lot better.
No doubt. I'm all for Build-A-Bear.
Yeah.
Well, talking about this week, it's a big week, couple of home games for us. You got the alumni game coming up on Saturday. UAB, a very talented, coming up on Thursday, and then Middle Tennessee, one of the best teams in the league, on Saturday. So a challenging week for you guys.
It has been, and we know that our whole home schedule has been built around the top 5 teams in the league, and we got the 2 final ones coming up here in UAB and MTSU, which both score the ball really well. So it'll certainly be a challenge for us, and we will get Andrian back this week, so we'll get back closer to full strength this week with him in the lineup. So hopefully that'll help us some a little bit offensively and on the defensive end too, and rebounding, which are all areas we got to continue to shore up. But UAB is a very talented offensive team, and they've got 2 seniors down on the inside, and Chris Coakley and William Lee, who both score the ball, who both rebound the ball, and they've got a good point guard back in Nick Norton, who's a returning guy that they missed last year because of the way he runs the show for him. But I tell you, going back here just briefly here on this past Saturday, I was thrilled with our crowd. I thought our crowd was fantastic. Our students showed out in big numbers and were loud and had a major impact on the game. And when we did get down there early in the game, they were a big reason we were able to cut that thing back to 6 by halftime. And the fact that our guys never quit was a reflection of the crowd, I thought.
And get back to Andrew White for a second. For folks that don't know, he hurt his thumb almost 2 weeks ago against Western Kentucky. He still played the second half and scored 18 points, but it's been in the cast. We're going to get him back this week, and that's going to help a lot because we've talked a couple of times on the pregame show about what he brings to the team, and a lot of it too defensively and his energy, and we've been lacking that. And
a lot of people play off his energy, and they see him out there really guarding the ball hard, physical, chasing rebounds down. They sort of play off of him a little bit from an energy standpoint, because he is a guy that sort of sets the tone for us with hard play. And more so than anybody else. So it will be good to have him back out there. And of course, he's, all of a sudden you're adding 18 points a game back into your lineup. But we will have to temper that a little bit because he is coming off the injury. So we'll have to see how he feels this week in practice, and hopefully we'll be able to get him back full speed by Thursday.
That's the one thing you'll be looking at too, is get more balanced scoring, not just one guy. This last week we really had the big pickup from Ryan Murphy, who kind of was in that slot that Andrian White was in, starting his spot. And Andrian had 23 the first time he played Old Dominion. But not a lot after that, and Murphy had 27, but not a lot after Murph.
That's right, and that's where the area where we got to get help from the inside. We got to get our 4s and 5s, contributing on points, and they didn't rebound the ball well against Old Dominion. Murph stepped up and had a big game for us, but we've got to have 3 to 4 guys doing it. The difference in the game is the fact that we had Murph getting his 27, we had JD getting his 14, but then we had no support after that, and they had 4 of their 5 starters in double figures. And that's the thing that separates you, because you got to have those guys that you can count on in your starting lineup to produce for you. Old Dominion had that, we didn't, and that's something we got to work towards this week, is getting contributions from more than just 2 people.
Coach, I know it's a little consolation, no real moral victories, but thought offensively, in spite of the struggles, you guys actually moved the ball. Some of the best I've seen all season long.
Joe, that's something we spent a lot of time on last week, was trying to be, because we did have the extra time, was being a little bit more ball control and making sure we got the shots we wanted to get. When we went back and examined what we did at Old Dominion, we took too many early quick shots after one or maybe two passes. We wanted to make sure we got a number of passes in and scored later on in the clock as opposed to earlier in the clock. And I think we got some of those, especially in the first half when we were patient. The ball got from side to side. We screened a whole lot better. Coach Gray spent time with our film watching guys, setting screens and guys who sort of whiffed on screens as opposed to putting contact on people. And we did a lot better job. We graded out a lot better screening this week than we did last week. So that was imperative for us too. But whole lot more excited with our offense and what they're able to get done against a very stingy Old Dominion team.
You put together two solid halves, 56% shooting in the first half, over 55 for the game. So that was, a very big positive step in the right direction. You look at the difference probably being that the offensive rebounds for Old Dominion, and you didn't turn the ball over a lot, but they only turned it over 5 times. And they capitalized on our turnovers. Only 14, which is not a huge number, but they did capitalize on those. And there's the difference. They shot 62 shots. We shot 40.
That's true. And they turned those second shots into points. I think they scored 26 from there, and they scored 22 from our turnovers. And those are all controllable areas. We just weren't very physical on the inside. I'd said, earlier, it's the first time we really got manhandled all season long on the inside. We have rebounded the ball, not great, but at least good enough to be in the middle of the league and to have competed against Western Kentucky, against Marshall, against some good rebounding teams, but just didn't do that on Saturday. And you give those, a team like that many second opportunities, you give up 19 offensive rebounds, it's hard to compete with that. And then couple that with the turnovers that led to points. Those are things that we can control that we didn't control on Saturday, and Old Dominion took advantage of it.
You talk about that run you had. You got down 18 with about 6 minutes to go in the first half. You cut it down to 6 at halftime. But during that stretch, a couple of the big guys picked up that third foul. You had to sit them, and then you went to a little different lineup to start the second half. And unfortunately, ODU had a big run. It was like 12-3 to start the first couple of minutes of the second half.
They did, and we didn't execute as well in the second half early as we did early in the game. And like you said, we had 3 guys with 3 fouls, so we ended up starting Naj there in the second half, along with Bryant, who Bryant had earned a right to be out there. Bryant, I thought, was pretty good in the first half. But they went on a 15-3 run, like you said, that separated us right there and got us, further behind than we were able to come back from. So, so much of it, you look over the course of the game, but those 4-minute games in between segments are ones you got to really work on winning, and that 4-minute segment is one that ultimately ended up costing us the game.
Talk about Brian Thomas a little bit. Here's a guy that has a very, very high ceiling, a freshman, great shot blocker in high school, and showed some flashes on Saturday of what you guys envision him, what kind of player he can be.
The good thing about Bryant is that Bryant keeps it simple. He knows his strengths and he does what he can do. He did a great job of rolling to the basket. John found him a couple times off rolls. He took advantage of, they're chasing Murph off screen, so he slipped a screen, caught it, and dunked it one time. Just simple plays. Do what you can do and don't try to play outside yourself right now. And that's why he was successful the other day. He blocked a couple shots, which he's good at. He kept a couple rebounds alive for us. I thought he competed as well as anybody we had on the inside Saturday as well, and he's going to be a really, really good player here. I'm excited about him. Always have been. We just knew he had to continue to get stronger, and trying to find minutes for him on the floor it has been a challenge, but now that he's earned the right to step in there and make contributions for us, and I was glad to see him come through on Saturday.
Ryan Murphy certainly played well. You touched on what he did at the top of the show here. 27 points, so efficient shooting the ball, too. 7 of 9 in the first half. He had 19 in the first half. Went 9 of 11 for the game, 6 of 6 from 3. One of his threes the second half. He was fouled, made all 3 free throws. They found him more in the second half, really tighter defensively, didn't get as many shots. But overall, 27 points. He's the ultimate gym rat, isn't he? He's always getting up extra shots, and it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, nobody works any harder than he does. He spends a lot of time on his craft, and the thing that separates him is obviously his ability to shoot it with distance. And that's just another weapon for us, because all of a sudden it left so many people chasing him, and that's when the other guys have to take advantage of that. All of a sudden you got the screeners worried about him. You got the guy trailing him worried about him. You got the guy passing it to worried about him. Everybody's concerned with him, and that's when our other guys have to step forward and and produce. When people are chasing him, all of a sudden we got one-on-one in the post. We got to be able to give it inside. Guys got to make a play when he's got one-on-one in the post. So, him being the weapon he is, enhances everyone else's ability to get things done. And they didn't do that. We didn't answer that way the other night. And I thought Ryan was Ryan was the catalyst in getting us back in the game there in the first half, and had a fantastic shooting night, like you said, and he can create off a dribble a little bit, and he made his free throws, like you mentioned that too. So he's as he continues to move forward and gets confidence in what he's doing. We've always had confidence in him. We've seen him do this way too many times in practice in the afternoons, and he shoots the ball with distance. And there's days where we have no one that can guard him in practice. So it was good to be able to see that come to fruition in a game because of the work he has put in. This guy that showed up on our campus as a walk-on a year ago, earned his stripes, and got his scholarship after his first year, and now he's a huge contributor for us at the 2.
Also, we'll tip our cap to Brandon Stith, who did a great job on the glass on both sides of the floor for Old Dominion. 17 rebounds in that game. He was all over the place.
He was, and a lot of it, after going back and watching the film, he was just more aggressive to the ball. And, we were forced to help on Porter a couple times. That gave him free runs to the rim. He rebounded against our zone a little bit where we didn't make contact with him. But there's a couple times we just blatantly didn't box out. And we don't worry. We brought that to our guys' attention, and they're aware of where they didn't box out. And we'll spend some time today with the bubble on the rim and continue to enhance our rebounding, because we're getting ready to play against a team in Old Dominion. in UAB here Thursday that rebounds the ball equally as well. I think over the course of the season they're out rebounding their guys by 8 a game over the course of the season. Chris Coakley is one of the best rebounders in the league. William Lee's a terrific rebounder on the inside. 2 seniors who are long and physical and do a great job on the glass. So we're going to have to rebound the ball well in this game, and that's something we'll spend a lot of time with this week, in addition to continue to enhance our offense and defensive performance.
I'm just going to bring that up. UAB plus 7.5 rebounds a game going into this one. They're 14-8 on the season, and right now 5-4 in Conference USA. They were upset this last Saturday by UTSA in Birmingham. Lee's averaging 6 rebounds a game, and Chris Coakley a team best 9.3. We'll take our first time out here in the show. I do notice that Ryan Murphy, our special player guest, is here, so we'll let Coach take a breather, come back, talk to Ryan Murphy coming up next as we continue on Gold Mine Live here from the Student Union on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
How do you become America's best-selling truck?
Come on, Briggs. Wait for your pitch, kiddo.
You give it best-in-class towing, payload, and with built-in Wi-Fi,
Yes!
the best seats in the house.
That's how it's done.
Just like his grandpa.
Even better.
That's Ford, America's best-selling truck 41 years straight. Now get a 2018 F-150 with up to $10,459 in total savings, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live here at the Student Union with Jobey Thomas. I'm Matt Swarat. Coach Fancher taking a break. We'll have our special guest come up here now. That's Ryan Murphy, who is a redshirt freshman on the Snyder basketball team this season. Had a career-high 27 against Old Dominion this last Saturday. Ryan, good to see you. How you doing?
Good. How y'all doing?
Doing good. And let's go back to Saturday a little bit. Let's go back actually a week ago down at FIU. You get more playing time, of course, with the injured Andrew White back in the starting lineup. And you had 14 in that game against FIU. Had some big shots, made 4 threes in that one. But then you have the great game on Saturday. What's the last couple of weeks been like for you with the extended playing time and more of a featured role in the offense?
Just being in the gym a little more, honestly, getting more shots up, getting more reps up, working on my ball handling more. Andrew's a big part of the offense, obviously, and having him out, guys got to step up and do their job, and I took upon myself to step up and try to help us win.
Let's go back to last season a little bit. Your redshirt year, you came here, sat out, but put a lot of work in. If folks were coming out to the games, they saw you about an hour before the game out there getting your workouts in. What was it like not playing last year, sitting out, but then also learning, getting those extra shots up?
Last year, watching us play, I got to see things that Braxton Boise did and John did and Andrew as well, and try to apply the stuff that they're doing in the game to my workout to make it work in the game for next year to help prepare myself. And I learned a lot, and definitely the extra shots help. Getting in the gym more and more helps, obviously. So
the ultimate gym rat, really, and that's a compliment. I saw the tweet that went out last, I guess yesterday or late Saturday night. You had that great game with 27. Your dad, Greg, was here. You went out, probably got a bite to eat, and then you were back in the gym getting shots up at 12:30 in the morning. You live to play this game, don't you?
Yeah, I love basketball. It's what I've known to do since I was young. So playing basketball, it's part of my family, part of my life, and yeah, we did get food and then get back in the gym. Yeah.
When did you finally shut it down? On Saturday night, what time did you finally say enough's enough?
Around 1:45. It was just a lot of form shooting, a little like looking at things I messed up in the game, just how teams are going to start guarding me a little harder off these screens, and when I catch the ball, working on just little things, footwork, and just getting basic work.
Ryan, you did obviously a great job Saturday. Looked like you got off to a hot start, hit a couple, and never looked back. Take us kind of into the mind of a shooter. What's going through your mind after you hit those first few, and is it a sense where you feel like you just couldn't miss?
After I hit the first one, I came off a great down screen from Jalen, and I saw that no one was even close to me, so I let go. And I believe whenever I shoot the ball, it's always going in, especially if it feels good, comes off the right finger, and it went right in. And then it was a swish, and I was like, uh-oh, that felt good. So I was like, I'm going to let the next one go. And Coach Fancher said that I got to take shots sometimes that if I miss, like, they're game-changing shots, like I make that shot, it gives us momentum. And I got to take the kind of shots that are, like, kind of risky, but at the same time that you need to get it up. So.
Well, I was saying, after you hit the first few, you had more discipline than I did, because I would have been, a step beyond half court and pulling. So get the green light. But one of the things that was impressive to watch was the second half, especially. You had a couple times you had made a number of threes, finished the game 6 for 6, but you really shot fake as the defense started to try to take away that three. Were able to take a couple 1-2 dribble pull-ups in the lane and showed that you're more than just a three-point shooter. Talk about just kind of the process of growing in that area of your game.
Oh, and that definitely relates to last year's work. I know I can come in and catch and shoot, but being a good scorer and a good shooter, you got to be able to put the ball on the floor. And I know I'm not the most athletic guy, so my shot fake, my jab steps, my ability to come off ball screens have gotten way better since last year to this time now, and translates into the game.
Is there a player, who would you say kind of you pattern your game after? Is there anybody maybe on the NBA level, professional level that you watch, that kind of and continue to improve your game?
It's funny. The two people I'm big fans of is obviously Steph Curry. I love the way he shoots the ball, the way he scores the ball is unbelievable. And second is my favorite player, J.J. Redick. So.
Both very good shooters.
Have you noticed as you've got more playing time this season, you talked about the things you worked on and learned last year, but the speed of the game and how to, ball fake and things like that, because it is so much faster when you practice and it's one way, but when you play during the game, it's so much different. Definitely.
I try to do things at game speed. A lot of times in my workouts, try to go like a sprint from the corner up to the wing, catch, and one of the managers, shout out to Matt Schultes, he'll always come out and try to guard you full speed. So I think that helps a lot, and just repetitions really help.
What's it like having your dad, Greg, around as much as he is? He travels. He's been to Oklahoma. He's been down to Florida. It's great to have that family support, knowing that they're rooting you on.
Yeah, definitely. He's been a big part of this whole journey, and he's the one who taught me how to shoot and dribble. So it's been awesome having him in my ear telling me, got to work on this, got to work on that. Good shot, bad shot, just little things like that.
Now you've played, you finished up in California, but tell us about growing up and where you played, and coming from California, you chose Charlotte. What was that like, the recruitment like for you, and why'd you come here?
My recruitment was a little crazy. Went up and down schools. I had a little bit of bad luck. A lot of schools that liked me, their coaching staff got fired the next week, or coaches just changing locations. So I was kind of all over the place. Wasn't really sure where I was going, and just so happened that Coach Houston Fancher gave me a phone call, and it was in the middle of English class, and stepped out, talked to him for about 10, 20 minutes, and then Coach Mark Price gave me the next call, and they Southern people are different, so I liked it. I got a little different vibe. I came down here and loved Charlotte, loved the school. It's beautiful, and I love the way they play. Fast, shoot threes, come off ball screens. It's fun, fast basketball, so I love it here.
As you go forward the rest of the season, still, there's a lot of season left. You've got the 6 games at home. You got a couple more trips on the road. What are you guys going to try and baby steps right now, getting that next win? But talk about the team mindset of this next big week coming up.
Definitely, this is a big week coming up. I believe that our team, we believe that we can make some noise. We just got to lock in a little more and keep coming together, and we got to put some games together. A lot of time left. So people are kind of counting us out. I really don't think we're counted out at all. I think all it takes is 3 wins in a row, and we're right back in this.
All right, thanks so much. Really appreciate the time today, and you get class later on today, so have a great rest of your day, and congratulations on a great game on Saturday.
Thank you.
Ryan Murphy's been our guest. We will take a break right now, come back, and joined by Tanner Smith, assistant coach on this Niner basketball team, former player at Clemson. That's coming up next. This is the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
How do you become America's best-selling truck?
Come on, Briggs. Wait for your pitch, kiddo.
You give it best-in-class towing, payload, and with built-in Wi-Fi,
yes!
The best seats in the house.
That's how it's done.
Just like his grandpa.
Even better.
That's Ford, America's best-selling truck 41 years straight. Now get a 2018 F-150 with up to $10,459 in total savings, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel. Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
The Student Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers. This week's Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week is Sam Rice. Rice is a junior on the men's tennis team from Brighton, England. Rice has been an important contributor to the 49ers' hot start to the spring season, playing at number 1 and number 2 doubles, helping Charlotte win its first 5 home matches of 2018. Last season, he recorded 8 wins at number 1 singles and 16 total singles wins, as well as 14 doubles wins. Rice is equally impressive in the classroom and was named an ITA Scholar Athlete for 2017. Sam Rice, the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week. This has been the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live with Jobey Thomas. I'm Matt Swarad. Special guest now, assistant coach Tanner Smith in his 3rd season with the 49ers. Niners home twice this week. They'll take on UAB on Thursday, and then Middle Tennessee comes to town on Saturday. That's alumni weekend as well. We'll talk more about that coming up later on with Coach Fancher. Both games at 7 o'clock. Get your tickets by going to charlotte49ers.com. Now again, welcome Tanner Smith. Tanner, good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, thanks for having me. We're we're just working every day, getting better, and it's just enjoying the process.
Well, congratulations, too, because when the coaching change was made, there was an opening as a full-time assistant. You'd been director of basketball operations, one of a couple, and get elevated to the full-time position. So tell us a little bit about, some of the differences, some of the things that you're able to do now as a full-time assistant. Certainly something you want to do going forward. This is your career goal. So getting a chance to do some different things on the floor with the guys.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Coach Fancher gave me the opportunity, which I'm extremely grateful for, and just trying to do the best job I can. Obviously, a huge difference is being able to be on the floor during practice, being able to help run drills, not just use my words, but be able to use some actions while I'm out there to demonstrate some things. And Coach Fancher's done a great job with our staff, allowing us to, really continue to invest in these guys and divvy up some responsibilities and allow us to be really, really hands-on. And it's, as you go through the season, you just got to bring the energy every day, and that's what I hope I can do. Being a little younger, that's kind of my job, and it's been a lot of fun being able to be on the floor and help these guys out.
It's still a young team. We saw it multiple times on Saturday, 3 freshmen, 4 freshmen on the floor at the same time. You have the upperclassmen and John Davis and Andrew White and guys like that, but there is a very young nucleus. And talk about keeping these guys up and the confidence going. That's a big part when you're struggling to win basketball games.
It is. College basketball is such a long season, and it's one of the few ones in sports where it goes over both semesters. So you're finishing up a semester you're starting a new one academically. There's so many things that go involved with college athletes. It's not just what's on the floor. It's their entire life. And so just kind of keeping them revved up, keeping them excited, understanding that, when you're a freshman, the amount of work that you have to put in to be a great player is a lot more than you think. What you've done in high school, what you've done playing AAU is great, and it's what's made you a good player. But those things don't necessarily make you a great college player. A guy like John Davis and Andrew White, our older guys, they're great role models because they have put in that work. They've done a great job becoming better players since the first day they showed up on campus to now. So they're great role models for our younger guys, just how much work you do have to put in.
Tanner, speaking of great, you had a great career at Clemson, and were fortunate enough to be able to play professionally over in Europe for a little while. Just talk about your experiences and how those translate to now coaching and maybe the respect that you get from some of the guys, not only being younger, but having been where they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps having a little bit of clout to what I'm saying. I was lucky enough to have a good college career and play for really good teams, and I was never the best player on a team, and I just wanted our guys to win games, and playing overseas was an incredible experience. But ultimately, my journey and how I played and the kind of player I was, at the end of the day, our guys like it, but it's not. They want to know what I can do for them, and like you said, having that experience and being able to kind of share some of the things I've went through. It's funny, you see a lot of the same struggles and you see a lot of the same successes that you had as a player. And Jobey, you can attest to this when you see guys succeed and you see guys do things the right way. It's you as a coach, you kind of become a fan. Like, you get excited for them, and during practice you might be their biggest critic, but on game day I feel like I'm their biggest fan. I mean, I catch myself fist pumping and cheering just like anybody else, and that's what's so exciting, and that's my favorite part of the coaching aspect of it.
Do you think, of course, you're older than these guys, but the age gap is not as big, that helps you right now?
I think it's just different. Brent and I just before this were talking about watching the Grammys this last night, and the different rap albums, and Brent didn't know any of them, and I do, and I think that's just because I'm a little younger, and that when you go into some of that stuff and you're able to relate a little bit differently. But I think we have a great mix on our staff of younger guys, and then obviously guys that have been in the coaching business like Coach Fancher and Coach Gray for 30 years, and so you have that mixture. You have different experiences. You have guys that have been closer to it. You have former players. You have Coach Fancher wasn't a player; he was a manager. So you have this great mix of our staff, and it allows us to relate to our players in different ways.
Also, a lot of folks may not be aware of this, and a lot are, but you've been giving back for years. Tanner's Totes you developed, and that gives back to kids. And tell us about the whole program, how it started. Congratulations on last summer, the Atlanta Braves honoring you for what you do in the Georgia area for the youth down there. It's fantastic. Tell us about the whole program.
Yeah, Tanner's Totes started when I was 12 years old. It's crazy to think we've been going for 15 years now. We delivered tote bags to preteens and teens undergoing long-term treatment in the hospital. It started as just cancer patients. Now it's any long-term treatment. We delivered over 10,000 tote bags across the country. Actually, when I was playing overseas, we were able to deliver some to a couple of hospitals over there, which was really cool. But it's just, I'll tell you what's been crazy for me is going to different cities and seeing hospitals and knowing that we've delivered totes there. Like, just when we were in Houston, they had the Houston Children's Hospital right next to our hotel, and we delivered totes there. And then when I was playing at Clemson, we flew out to Hawaii for a tournament. Like, next year when we go to Diamond Head, there's a hospital out there that we've delivered totes to, and that's just really cool. It's been, my father had cancer when I was really young. He has graft versus host disease now, and still suffers from that. And it's to have something that our family's been able to wrap our arms around and help some kids and help their families and put a smile on their face, and for just a second or two just kind of forget where they are. It's been a real blessing for us.
Do you reach out to, when it first started, the different companies in your area to try and get them involved to fill the totes?
Yeah, so when we first started, I had no idea it would get as big as it did. We delivered our first ones to Scottish Rite in Atlanta, and we did guy totes and girl totes and all this, but now we have a guy tote and a girl tote, and whether you get one in Atlanta or you get one in Hawaii or you get one in California or New York, we know exactly what's going in each tote bag. It's about $70 worth of stuff. Everything has to be completely new, obviously for germs and things like that. And now we just we have Girl Scout troops, baseball teams. Actually, a couple of guys from the Georgia Tech baseball team went and delivered some totes in Atlanta the other day. So it's gotten so big now that people reach out to us. But we deliver to child life specialists that are in these children's hospitals, and we ask them to divvy them up as they see fit for certain kids. And the only thing we ask is that you keep the whole tote bag together.
Tanner, so much of coaching, as you know, is not just developing good basketball players, but trying to develop good human beings and helping these guys succeed beyond their 4 years at school. How much of just some of the challenges you walk through, with your family, your father's illness, being able to give back, create something as helpful and profitable as Tanner Totes, has that had any impact on you going into coaching in general?
I've loved it. I think that's what makes college so much different than professional sports. Is these kids are 18 to 22 years old. We're here in the student union. You watch kids walk by, and everybody's kind of trying to figure life out. You're at this point in your life where you're trying to figure out who you want to be, and a lot of that you're on your own. You're figuring it. You're thrown into the fire a little bit, and so being able to be here for these guys, and they're going to make mistakes. They're going to do some things you did that you can help with. They're going to do some things you never did or never thought you would do, and you just try to help them the best you can. Then there's times where they surprise you and they do some amazing thing. And at the end of the day, you just hope that as these kids and you're sitting here, that everybody continues to grow as a person. I think we all up here continue try to grow as people every day, and it's just been so much fun being a college coach and seeing these kids at 18 years old and seeing them. You talk about John Davis and Andrew and White when they first got in here. We remember talking about John on his visit. He said maybe 2 words, and now you can't get him to shut up. And that's what's exciting is these guys grow in their confidence. They understand who they are. They become great leaders, and they're not just people that do what they're going to say they're going to do. They do stuff before you ask them, and that's been really fun.
Talking to Tanner Smith, the assistant coach for the Niner basketball team. Tanner, you also with the full-time position now, recruiting is an aspect of it. What's that been like? I know it's early for you, but getting a chance to go out and talk to these kids and try to sell them on Charlotte. And what a great place right now as the university continues to grow to try and sell to a future basketball player.
It is a great place. You go around, especially when you go around Charlotte. I've been able to get out to a couple of schools here and watch some games. You go around Charlotte, people love this university. So getting us, being able to get out in front of these people and be face-to-face with these kids. And at the end of the day, kind of like some of the stuff we've been talking about, explaining who our staff is, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish. Give them great examples like the guys we've had in our program, the current guys that we do have, guys that have been successful in this program in the past, and the history and obviously the history we've had as a program for guys like Jobey here. It's exciting. There's definitely a buzz around Charlotte about this place, but obviously this region, the Southeast region, is such a talent-rich region. When you talk about Atlanta, Virginia, Florida, South Carolina, you talk about this region. There's a lot of really good players, and so it's our job to kind of find those guys that fit the type of system that we're trying to play now. The kind of kids that we're trying to recruit, the kind of kids that we feel like would be successful not only here as a basketball player, but here as a student.
So Tanner, you transitioned from Dobo to assistant coach, and coming up you transition from single to married. When's the big day?
The big day is May 4th, Star Wars Day. We're really excited. We've been doing long distance now for almost 4 years, and that'll be exciting to after the wedding to be able to live together and start our life. It's been a lot of fun, and she never saw me play basketball, which is great. She met me after my basketball playing days, which I don't know if she would have liked me if I was. I was a little fiery when I was a player. She sees the gentler side of myself, but we're excited, and Charlotte's a great place, and we're excited to start our time here.
Well, congratulations. Before I let you go, I got to ask you just one more question because you're still playing a little bit, and a lot of the students now know about the managers team. You guys still ranked number 1 in the country?
I believe so. You'd have to ask our Matt Schultes about that.
And Matt is extremely proud
he is.
of this team.
Or Jay Billis, who always is talking about it.
But I'm not sure if they'd be number 1 in the country if Tanner Smith wasn't leading the way. So that's a big part.
I appreciate that. some people think that I might hog it a little bit out there, but we're just trying to get some wins especially on the road. We like playing on the road. We're not really a home team. We like playing on the road and beating people in their own place.
So help me understand how you qualify as a manager.
It's just staff, I guess, in general.
Okay.
We only bring a couple managers on the road, so otherwise they wouldn't have a team.
You got to fill them out.
You got to fill out the squad.
They just need to change the name then.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it doesn't look good when it says manager rankings. We're number one.
Yeah.
It's like we played 2 or 3 managers and a couple of guys on staff.
I think Colby went for 60 or something like that against James Madison.
He did. I think he threw one in behind his head one time. It was impressive.
Tanner, thanks so much. Congratulations on the
guys.
Promotion and the future wedding and all that's going on right now in your life. Thanks so much for this time today. We're back with Coach Houston Fancher. We continue with Gold Mine Live, talking Niner basketball coming up next. UAB on Thursday. We'll talk about that after this on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
How do you become America's best-selling truck?
Come on, Briggs. Wait for your pitch, kiddo.
You give it best-in-class towing, payload, and with built-in Wi-Fi,
Yes!
the best seats in the house.
That's how it's done.
Just like his grandpa.
Even better.
That's Ford, America's best-selling truck 41 years straight. Now get a 2018 F-150 with up to $10,459 in total savings, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today. Surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party. Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live, joined again by head coach Houston Fancher as we have a big week coming up. UAB on Thursday, Middle Tennessee coming in, one of the top teams in the league on Saturday. That's the alumni game as well. More on that coming up in a little bit. But, Coach, this UAB team, they'll come in hungry. They got upset by the Roadrunners of UTSA at home this last Saturday. But you look at their losses. They're 14-8. There's not a game in which they've been blown out, and they've had a lot of close ones against some pretty good competition that have not gone their way. So it's a pretty talented team.
It is, and they've been, like you say, been involved in a lot of close games. But they're a good scoring team. They average right around close to 80 a game, overall. So they got a lot of weapons that can put the ball in the basket. In their San Antonio game they lost this weekend, San Antonio hit 15 threes against them. And just shot the ball incredibly against them at their place. Really played well on the offensive end. So they ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw against San Antonio this weekend and played a close one against UTEP as well. And sort of like us, they played West Kentucky and Marshall, a couple really good teams in our league on the road, which is presents a challenge for them. They beat a good Louisiana Tech team at home and a Southern Miss team that's playing well at home. So they're a very capable team. They stand at 5-4 in our league right now. So it will be a big challenge for us. And as we said, we've got to answer the bell on the glass, the way they rebound the ball with Coakley and Lee on the inside. And, for us, we'll have to do a great job of protecting the basketball, making sure we get the shots we want to get when we want to get them. And then try to see if we can get the ball game going up and down in terms of getting some transition baskets so we don't have to work as hard, every time up and down the floor for a basket, and see if we can find a way to get a couple of easy ones, because it seems like every basket, we score, I guess, 60 the other night. Every one seems to have been a struggle. You had to work to get a basket, work to create a basket, not really many up-tempo things where you get layups or uncontested plays at the rim.
I watched that Western Kentucky game. They lost on the 18th of January. It's at WKU and lost it by 8. They were up for most of that game, and that same road trip went to Marshall, lost an overtime game against the Herd, a tough place to win over there in Huntington. So, again, as you pointed out, some really close but yet tough league losses. Here's a team that shoots the ball so well for the season, 50%. That's a big number.
It is a big number, and they've got some guys that can score. You hear the name Nate Darling, and you think last year it's a guard who, when we played them in the tournament last year, hit up a couple big threes against us in the tournament last year. In a game we lost by 1 to end our season last year. But he's more than just a shooter now. He can put it on the ground, and he shoots close to 40% from 3, but he can put it on the ground now and get to the rim. They've got a freshman named Zach Bryant, about 6'3", that plays on a wing, that's really talented, a great slasher, okay shooter, but really gets the ball to the rim, really explosive athlete. They really only play about 7 guys, but they're all really talented. All 7 of those guys can score the basketball. So they're a threat at every position where, you have time times where, 2 or 3 guys maybe are not as big as scorers as other guys, but they've got guys that are all able to score the basketball, so you really can't really zone in on one. We do know that Coakley and Lee are keys for him. When Lee plays great, they're very successful. When he's just okay, that's when they struggle a little bit. So he is a key member of their team, both on the glass and scoring the basketball too. So Coakley and Lee are the 2 guys that ultimately end up making them go.
It's going to be a big game for our big guys, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And if we play, they need to come up and play the way they did against Marshall and West Kentucky as opposed to the way against the Old Dominion they played. So, and they're going to see 2 talented guys. And, when you're talking about a new guy in Jalen Haslem, talking about a freshman in Bryant Thomas, talking about a second-year guy in Naj, you talk about another freshman in Milos, we're asking a lot out of young guys. Those are guys that, for us, Najee's almost been on the floor before this year in our program. So we're asking a lot of newbies to come in there and be competitive against 2 seniors, these 2 guys. 2 men like Trey Porter and Brandon Stith, like we saw the other day. Colby, a 5th-year transfer from Kansas, and Justin Johnson, maybe the toughest 4 in our league. You're asking those young guys to come in and at least meet those guys halfway. You don't have to dominate them, but you got to at least neutralize them. And that's the thing we're trying to ask them to do, is not come in and dominate them, but neutralize them so that our guards can hopefully push us over the top.
Coach, you said you had to challenge the big guys' manhood a little bit after the dominant performance by ODU's interior the other night. Do you think in some ways that maybe as tough as it is to have a loss like that, coming back-to-back against another team like UAB that has good inside players, that maybe it's somewhat of a wake-up call, an opportunity that they certainly can't have 2 back-to-back performances like they had Saturday, right?
You're right. We'll find out. And we're going to see if they answer the bell now. And we'll challenge them all week this week in practice, obviously. And the great thing about these kids, they're all conscientious, and they know. They know they didn't play well, and it was brought out to them. So it not only has it been shown to them on film, it's been talked to them about them in practice, and we're going to continue to emphasize it throughout the course of this week to challenge them to step up. And as we're continuing to grow, like I said, we're talking about sophomore, 2 freshmen, and a junior that's never played with us before, and those guys are still learning. They're still they got to find out how to bring it on that level every night, Jobey. The way they played against Marshall, West Kentucky is the way they've got to be every night. The way they played against East Carolina is the way they got to be every night. And it's not we don't have the luxury, number one, of being flat-footed because we end up 3 guys with 3 fouls in the first half, which takes away a little bit of your competition level. You get in there and all of a sudden you're stuck with 3 fouls in the first half. You're afraid to get another push here, another hold here, another legal screen here. It takes away from your ability to compete when you get in foul trouble. But once again, that comes being ready to play. You come in the game early, you make sure you're where you need to be on the defensive end, you put yourself in the right position initially, and you don't get caught with those cheap fouls that we got the other night. So we'll continue to learn, and we'll teach those lessons as we grow.
As good as UAB is, the next opponent, the one after that on Saturday, Middle Tennessee, right now atop the league at 8-1, so playing even better. A couple of great seasons, too, the last couple of years with wins in the first round of the NCAA tournament. That's the opponent coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about the Blue Raiders after this timeout on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
How do you become America's best-selling truck?
Come on, Briggs. Wait for your pitch, kiddo.
You give it best-in-class towing, payload, and with built-in Wi-Fi,
Yes!
the best seats in the house.
That's how it's done.
Just like his grandpa.
Even better.
That's Ford, America's best-selling truck 41 years straight. Now get a 2018 F-150 with up to $10,459 in total savings, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live. Matt Swarhat with Jobey Thomas and head coach Houston Fancher. Coming up on Thursday, it's UAB, but after that, as I mentioned before the break, we've got Middle Tennessee on Saturday, so it gets even bumpier with the Blue Raiders coming to town. They're 16-5 right now, 8-1 in the league, and doing a great job over there the last couple of years. They've been the class of the league really the last couple of years. A little different team this year, but Giddy Potts is still back, and a team that has tournament success, getting wins in the first round the last couple of years in the NCAA tournament. And you know that place very well, Coach. It's someplace special to you. So, from afar, you want to beat them right now, but proud of what they're doing.
Yeah, that's my alma mater, and that's where I did spend 4 fantastic years there at Middle. Actually, at the time I was there, went to the NCAA tournament twice, NIT twice, and had a great experience there. But now our job is to beat them. And I remember, as the head coach at Appalachian, going in there and beating them at their place, the feeling it was, to go in and do something like that with your team, to beat, your former school is a great feeling. But, to us, quite honestly, we're past the point now of that. It's just another conference game for us, for me, and it should be for our guys too. And when you mention them, you can't talk about them without mentioning a guy by the name of Nick King, who's a 5th-year transfer from Alabama, who I think we've seen some great 4s in our league. I think he may be the best one in the league, a guy that can, go out and get you 25 and 15 every night. He's a really talented left-handed kid, and they isolate a lot for him. You talk about Giddy Potts and how important he is to the run. This kid's taking 100 more shots than anybody on their team. So he's a guy they really go to, exclusively. He's a talented player. But they do, Brandon Walters is a returning player on the inside at 6'10", who's playing extremely well for him too at the 5. They got their point guard back, and they are a solid defensive team, and they've got good depth. And Kermit's done a fantastic job with that program. They have been the bar in our league for the last couple of years, and they've raised it. And it went in a year when you think they may take a little bit of a slide because they're losing two guys that are playing one playing in Germany right now, one playing in D League, and Upshaw and Jacoby Williams. Who's playing in the G League. You lose those 2 guys, they may take a step back, but all of a sudden Brandon Walters steps forward. They bring Nick King in as a 5th-year transfer, and they don't miss a beat. So they're 8-1 in our league right now and playing extremely well. And it'll be a big challenge for us in here Saturday. But, first things first, we'll talk about UAB and that competition on Thursday and continue to try to improve for when the Blue Raiders roll in here.
Another team in Middle that defends really well. Good teams do, but they really they get at you. And you mentioned the loss of Upshaw and Williams from last year, 2 guys that were great on the defensive side, but they're still getting it done.
They are. They're very aggressive. They make you work for every catch. They're really good guarding the bounce. They don't allow many offensive rebounds, so you got to be really good with your first shot offense. You got to try to find a way to get to the free throw line some against them because they do defend so well. And a lot of things they do is systematic, and they've been taught well. They're physical. Kermit's one will take a couple quick timeouts if he doesn't like what he's seeing defensively to make some adjustments, and they've got good players. So it's a very well-oiled machine. They got it rolling there right now, and coincidentally, you think about it as they're building their team in the first few years there. Kermit's a guy that a lot of people looked at as being on the hot seat. But they gave him time to build his program to get it where it needed to be, and now they're the class of the league.
They really are. And, Giddy Potts, you mentioned Nick King taking over 100 more shots than Potts, and he has. But Giddy has the ball in his hands an awful lot, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, only turned it over 33 times. He's not the main point guard, but just a focus, again, they just don't make too many mistakes.
He still makes big shots for him. If you go back and watch him over the course of the season and the games they played in tournaments, they played in the Diamond Head Classic earlier this year in Hawaii, and he ends up still taking big shots. Now, Nick King, as we said, takes the majority of the shots, but if it comes down to a big basket, Giddy Potts is still their guy on the perimeter. He can still shoot his step backs. He's got a physical body. He's a terrific defender, too. I had a guy named Rufus Leach that played for me a few years ago at Appalachian that he reminds me so much of because he's got a soft touch, but he's really a physical guy that could put a forearm on you and not let you make your drive and not let you get where you want to go. And he's a bulldog in terms of his mindset, too. He's a really physical, confident player. And this will be a big challenge for us. He and Andrew should be a good matchup.
It's alumni weekend as well. A lot of former players coming back. The alumni game is earlier that afternoon. We'll talk about that. Jobey Thomas has officially retired. He says he's not going to play anymore, but we'll be there, I'm sure, to watch.
I think if they guaranteed him 20 shots, I think he'd be out there, no question. They guarantee, well, maybe 25.
I might be able to guarantee him 25, but I don't think he wants to. We'll come back, talk about that coming up next. This is Gold Mine Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
How do you become America's best-selling truck?
Come on, Briggs. Wait for your pitch, kiddo.
You give it best-in-class towing, payload, and with built-in Wi-Fi,
yes!
The best seats in the house.
That's how it's done.
Just like his grandpa.
Even better.
That's Ford, America's best-selling truck 41 years straight. Now get a 2018 F-150 with up to $10,459 in total savings, only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Hotel.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back. Just a few minutes left of the show this week here on Gold Mine Live with head coach Houston Fancher. Jobey Thomas, I'm Matt Swarad. Niners home on Thursday, UAB's in. Then on Saturday, Middle Tennessee. Both games at 7 o'clock. Also on Saturday, if you want to come out early, 3:45 to catch the alumni game. And during the game that night against Middle Tennessee, we'll be honoring the 30th anniversary of the 1988 Sun Belt Conference Championship team for the 49ers, coached by Jeff Mullins. Byron Dinkins and that team, just a really, really talented team. That should be a fun night.
It will be. It'll be good to see those guys back, and Alumni Day is always fun for everyone involved, and looking forward to seeing the game. Those guys that can still play and the guys that can't play still get out there and play. So it's a lot of fun, and as you said, probably one of the first guys I remember vividly in my mind is Byron Dinkins when he played point guard here, and just a unbelievably talented player here, ran the show. And there's a guy on that team named Chris Baker, and it dates me a little bit because I used to babysit Chris Baker when he was a child back in Newport, Tennessee, and he played on that team as well. So I have a couple of ties into that 88 team, but really, really happy to have those guys back in. Coach Mullins, we're hoping is going to be back over here as well for that celebration, but really talented team. They did some great things. I hear the stories about their game against Kentucky and just, all the wonderful memories they have of their time here. And when you play in golf tournaments around that I have with a couple of these guys, they just love talking about their time at Charlotte, and I think all Jobey can speak to this too, but you just have such an affinity for the place you spent 4 important years of your life as you grew, and a lot of friends that you meet while you're in college are still friends to this day. They're the ones that ends up sticking with you, and you can tell when I sit and talk to Byron, of course coaching here in the area, one of the best high school coaches in our area right now, he and Joe Badgett, coach over at Carmel Christian, and those guys do a tremendous job with their program, but you could talk when they talk about their friends, they talk about their colleagues, they talk about their players at Charlotte. And that's who they talk. That's who we refer to.
Jobey, what is it like getting not just the guys you played with, but even at home games now, people come up and want to talk to you and reminisce a little bit, but get a chance to talk to the other guys that play maybe before you and after you during that alumni weekend.
It's a great experience. I mean, it's one of the things that I know over the years the coaches have tried to do, just try to get these guys together from different generations, different teams, and kind of reminisce about our time together. And you all have that common bond. We all wore the green here, and had the joy and privilege of playing for this university, and so we all desire to see the university succeed. We're all behind Coach Fancher and the staff, and it's nice to get everybody together. Hopefully there'll be a good crowd. Come and watch these guys play who compete hard every night and certainly need our support.
And again, the alumni game 3:45 in the afternoon at Halton. Of course, the basketball game against Middle Tennessee will tip off at 7 o'clock. And our pregame coverage for both Thursday and coming up on Saturday starts at 6:30 on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network. Also, Thursday's games on ESPN3 broadcast. Bobby Rosinski with Jobey Thomas will be doing that on television. I'll have the radio call. Coach, have a great week. Good luck this week against UAB and Middle. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you guys, and look forward to having a good student crowd out again here Thursday as well.
Yeah, it was a great crowd on Saturday night. Hopefully another big one coming up against UAB for Thursday night. Again, tickets available at charlotte49ers.com. We'll call 704-687-4949. For Jobey Thomas and Coach Fancher, I'm Matt Swarad. Thanks to Tanner Smith and Ryan Murphy as well. So long, everybody.